Hi, I'm Paul Nehlen, and I'm here today to talk to you about the Trans-Pacific Partnership. It is a 5,500-page trade deal that is very difficult to understand in its entirety, but we're going to break it down for you and simply focus on the countries that are involved, their GDP and their populations. The gross domestic product of those countries really comes into play, and so does the amount of money those people make in those countries and how many people are in those countries compared to the United States. Because you have to remember, every one of those member states is going to get one vote, just like the United States. And they're also going to get one unelected bureaucrat to represent their country, just like the United States. The United States dwarfs the other TPP members' nations in terms of size of our economy. To show this disparity, I've represented each of the 12 TPP member countries with a ball scaled to the size of each nation's GDP. The United States' annual GDP is $17.3 trillion, while the combined total of all 11 TPP nations' GDP only amounts to $10.6 trillion. It's unacceptable we would give an equal vote to each of the other 11 member countries when such a disparity exists between the size of the other member economies and ours. Why would the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and special interests want to do this? The answer is wages and available cheap labor. Cheaper wages means our jobs go overseas. Low wages mean foreign corporations will bring their workers here and pay them a foreign wage, as Article 10 and Article 12 of TPP allows. The combined total population of the other TPP nations is 487 million people. The U.S. population is 319 million. The smallest nation in the TPP is Brunei, represented by that grain of sand. They have only 400,000 citizens, roughly the size of Omaha, Nebraska, and yet will receive a vote equal to the U.S. Brunei also has a new Sharia penal code that criminalizes homosexuality and sentences single mothers to death by stoning. In Malaysia, there are 30 million people. The average wage there is $345 per month, and there are multitudes of reports of slave labor and mass graves for the victims of human trafficking. In Vietnam, there are 90 million people, and the average wage is $145 a month, a fraction of Chinese wages. In Vietnam, child labor is widespread. How can the United States compete with such low wages, or even slave or forced child labor? Nations that use slave labor or sweatshops will always be able to provide cheaper labor to the workforce. U.S. workers can't compete with slave labor, and more importantly, we shouldn't. And TPP threatens U.S. sovereignty by placing their votes over our own. Article 27 of this treaty creates a commission, which is literally a voting body superior to the U.S. Congress. It grants each of these small nations one unelected bureaucrat to sit on the commission. Most of the TPP nations are heavily leveraged by the China-owned IAAB Bank, one of the largest banks on the planet. If you think China isn't involved in TPP, you are wrong. With only one vote as a signing member to this job-killing treaty, the U.S. will surrender her sovereignty and Americans will lose their jobs. But we can stop all of this if Congress refuses to pass TPP. I urge you to join with me to build an army of resistance to defeat this disastrous trade deal. Join the fight at paulnehlen.com.